Welcome to a new series where I'm going to break down different revision methods and explain how to use them effectively to aid your revision. First up, flashcards. Flashcards are a great way of taking a large amount of information and breaking it down into manageable chunks. Usually how it works is you're going to have your question on the front and the answer on the back, and you just flip through it as you're going through a bunch of flashcards at once. So it's a great way of memorizing a large amount of information. However, where I feel a lot of students go wrong with flashcards is you can rely a lot more on recognition rather than recall, where you memorize the wording or a kind of images on a flashcard, and then that's how you know the answers. So, how do we combat this? Number one, I think realizing that making the flashcards in itself is really good for revision. You have to go back through notes and really pick out the key information, and that requires you to really understand what was going on. Once you picked out the key information, then you put them into the flashcard, and even that process of writing it out or typing it out is going to be really good for consolidating that information. Another thing is making sure that you're not putting too much information on each flashcard. Make sure that you're spacing out, or else you're going to see a chunk of text and it's not going to be appealing to revise. So make sure that you're keeping things quite short and concise when you're making your flashcards. Next one, and maybe a bit nitpicky, but I typically don't like using colors or symbols whenever I'm making flashcards. I think it increases the chances of you just recognizing that symbol or that color and then getting the answer that way, rather than actually having to retrieve the information from your brain. So I typically just stick to black text whenever I'm writing my flashcards. I think the whole process of going through flashcards in your head can be really monotonous and boring. So what I tend to do is write out the answers as I'm doing the flashcards, or say them out loud, potentially even to somebody. It really helps in terms of storing those memories better if you're writing it out or saying it out loud. And finally, I like using apps like Anki and Quizlet because they help you space out the flashcards a lot more. So the ones that you typically get right, you're going to see less often, whilst the ones that you're struggling and need to target on come up way more frequently, which really helps in terms of prioritizing what you struggle with and what you're doing well on. So flashcards might not be the magic bullet for all of revision, but they are a very good method in terms of making sure that you get information memorized and ready for exams. Follow for more tips on revision methods coming up soon.